Hey YouTubers, how you guys doing? So today is part one of my Voron legacy build. I think that you guys seen my switch wire video, so now I got inspired to make another printer. Well, I took apart an existing printer to make a Voron legacy. Now, as you know, I like the Voron. My switch wire is doing really well. Still no issue with it being in PTG. It's printing lovely. So I really like Voron so much that I'm attempting to build a Voron legacy. Now this legacy won't be enclosed, still won't be enclosed, because like I said, I'm not planning on printing ABS anytime soon. And if I do, I will definitely do the recommended specs in terms of printing ABS and building it out of ABS. But since in this case, again, I have no desire to print ABS at this current moment, so all my builds are in PTG. So I have basically a build log. It's like a collage of clips that I've took to kind of give you guys some updates. So yeah, enjoy. Alright guys, so this is the progress I've made so far. Where to start? So this is the X5 SA frame. So it's from Tronxy. So it's your standard, you know, Chinese made Quartz Y. I just took the frame because it was kind of cheap. I got it for $289 on Amazon, 40% off. So this was a good frame. I'm converting this into a core, a Voron legacy. And the standard Voron legacy is, I think, about 250 millimeter bed. This is blown up. This is like 330 millimeter bed with a 400 millimeter height. So yeah, it's yeah, this is been quite a project so far, and I'm just basically on the Z right now. The most difficult part, I would say right now, is to manage to find a way to fit the bed. But I did figure it out after a whole 24 hours of thinking how to, you know, mount this big of a bed. Of course, it's not the biggest bed ever, but you know, it's a sizable bed. It's 330 millimeters by 330 millimeters, so pretty sizable bed. And so I had to mount some aluminum, some 2020 aluminum extruding. I mounted it, screw it down. There is a heated insert underneath the bottom of these, underneath the bottom of the mount. So I screw it down, drill some holes, screw it down, and it's nice and, you know, sturdy, nice and sturdy. And so the only problem is I can't mount any bed springs on this. I'm gonna have to mount this flat. And the reason for that is because, you know, I'd have to drill holes in here to mount bed springs. And, you know, look, it's very close. As you can see, it's very, very close. So it's kind of pointless to do that right now. So what I'm gonna probably do is get a 6 millimeter thick aluminum plate, since those are typically flat, and a silicone heater, and maybe like a 750 watt, maybe 800 watt depending, and hook it up that way. and not worry about the surface. Because the problem with these aluminum, these thin aluminum heated bed is that they flex under heat and they tend to warp a little bit, and I think that's gonna cause a bit of a pain. But we'll see how it goes with me just mounting it like this, but it's probably gonna give me some headache. So eventually I plan, maybe you know, we'll see, maybe sometime in the near future I'm definitely gonna get thicker plate for this, just because I want a flat bed. I don't want to have to fight with it. So that's to come later. The next difficult part is, keep in mind, I'm using PETG. Now with Vorons, it's recommended that you use ABS. And why is that the case? Because Vorons were designed, except for the Legacy, this is the only one that's not really designed to be enclosed. Even though you can set it up to be enclosed, it's not, by standard default, it's not designed to be enclosed. So this is the only one that is not. But the switch wire, the V2, V2.4, 1.8, all of those are all designed to be enclosed, right? The reason why they're designed to be enclosed is because they're using ABS, and ABS withstand temperatures higher than PETG. ABS can withstand up to up to 100 degrees, right? Over that, it tends to start softening. With PETG, it's between 70 and 80 degrees, right? So this is why, and not only that, but like, the shatter resistance, how tough they are. It's really, the only difference literally is that PETG, even ABS can withstand heat, higher temperature than PETG. That's literally the only difference. Of course, there's different shrinkage issue. The shrinkage from ABS is also different from PETG. But the thing is, the reason why I'm using PETG, it's safer. I have kids at home. I can print it around in open air. I don't have to worry about poisonous VOCs. And yes, that's the purpose of closing off the printer. That's the purpose of enclosing the printer and printing. But I don't care to print ABS. I literally have no use for it, right? PETG and PLA is plenty enough for what I do. So for me, printing and using PETG is perfectly fine. Now, again, the tolerance might be slightly tighter on PETG, only because, again, the parts are kind of designed in ABS in mind. Now, you can get away. As you can see, I got away with it. But you might find just a little bit more difficulty getting things to fit. Now, when it comes to screw holes, the screw holes fit perfectly. However, my issue was putting these LMU MM8 bearings in. I had to knock them in. So basically, I had to take my hammer and a little this plate that came with the printer, and kind of held it over it so I don't damage the bearings, and kind of just take my time and knock it in, and that seemed to work. So again, but that's good. But that's a good thing, because it just means that it's tight in place. It ain't coming out. So that's a really good thing, that it's very tight. However, but that's the main difficulty I have, is between just putting the bearing in and then trying to figure out a way to mount my bed. So that was the most difficult part of this build. But I just wanted to give you guys some update on it, see my progress here. So far, it's looking good. I might lose some Z height, but that's okay. I'm going to play with it and see what the maximum I have in terms of Z height. But honestly, this is plenty of volume. If you look at it, it's like still a lot of volume. So yeah, but I'm super happy. As you can see back there, I have the X5 SA Pro. So that's the Pro version. But this is the regular version. That's the Pro version. The only difference is the Pro version comes with linear guides, not linear rails, linear guides. So they have little metal wheels, as you can see down there. And the regular version don't come with linear guides. It comes with your regular V wheels. So that's the difference, the major difference between the two of them. But this is a good frame, because again, you have the linear guides, and I didn't need that for this build, right? It's going to be useless if I'm trying to build a Voron Legacy out of it. So I need the full 2020 extrusion, and the regular version come with all 2020 extrusion. So this was a perfect candidate to convert into a Voron legacy. So again, I'm using PETG. I don't print ABS. I don't plan on printing ABS at all. Um, again, some people might flack me for that, but I really don't care. You know, it's not their printer. It's not their money. They can print ABS, but like I said, I have kids. I'm not going to print that around my kids, and I don't plan to enclose my printers. I like to keep them open. I want to, I want to be able to see them print, without being enclosed or anything like that. So, yeah, that's just my philosophy on it. But anyways, yeah. So if anybody wants to copy this, I'll definitely have a full build log. I'll try to go in as much details as possible. But yeah, it's been fun. It's really fun. So, um, I'll catch you in the next video. All right, guys. Here's my progress update. So, like previous before, the bed is finished. I mounted the lead screws. Um, so I'm about to mount the bed here in a second. I got a lot of cable management to do, but I still need to mount the tool head. But I mount the front idlers. As you can see, they're all mounted. The y-axis is mounted as well too. Very smooth and easy. Mounted the motor mount. I think this is B, I want to say motor mount, and I think A, but I'm gonna have to go back and check. But yeah, but the motor mounts are mounted. Most difficult part is to measure and cut, because I had different size rods from existing build, so I had to cut them down. So I recommend you guys, if you guys trying to do this, make sure either you buy the right rods, correct size rods, or if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, you can cut them down. I'll update on the length, because I wasn't thinking about that. I was just kind of measuring and cutting, but I'll update you on the length. If you guys, for those who are trying to attempt to convert a Tronxy Core XY to the Voron Legacy. So I'm gonna update the size of the rods and then get back to you with that. But so far, the only thing left is to mount the wire, the X rods, and then the tool head, the afterburner. But not much left to do now. The only problem I'm kind of concerned about is the the belt path. It's looked quite intimidating, not gonna lie. Might have to go on the forums to figure out how to run the belt path. You think that's the easiest part, but no, it looks complicated to me. But but again, guys, in order to make this successful, you got to take your time. I'm pretty experienced with building printers, so this was what, 2 nights, I want to say 2.5 nights of doing this, so it's not hard. But for those that are inexperienced building printers, you want to take your time, make sure you have the right tools. That means M3, M4, M5 screws, lots of screws. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. And then, make sure you just have the right tools, and the build process will become very, very easy after that. And so, yeah, this is the progress. I'm pretty excited. These I'm using 92-ounce stepper motors, so they're quite torquey. And that's all right, because I kind of want to push this machine. I want it to print a little fast. I'm aiming for at least 120 millimeters with at least minimum 3,000 acceleration with pretty good prints. So if it can do that, then I'm happy. But yeah, I'm satisfied so far. Now, another concern of mine is the way the bed screws are mounted. I'm a little concerned with it binds at the bottom. It kind of get a little tight at the bottom. Nothing that the motor can't overcome, but I'm a little concerned about that. So if I'm making a big print, and if it's binding at the bottom, it can cause Z banding. So I'm a little concerned with how these are mounted. But yeah, for the most part, everything is everything is nice and clean and neat, and I'm just really excited to get this thing going. So see you in the next one once I mount the afterburner and belts and electronics, and yeah. So all right, see you in the next one. All right, guys. So finally, I got the afterburner mounted, the X-axis mounted, of course the Y. So now it's to mount the bed, get the electronics going. I also have the belt installed. Now I'm gonna do a final review. So this is a build log part 1. I'm just gonna go through roughly some stuff that may be challenging for those who are attempting this. And then in the next build log, in the final, video, when I button up everything, I'll go through some more detail. But for the most part, as long as you have the correct tools, if you have, I'm not sure if you can order the right size, but remember, this is a custom Voron Legacy in terms of the size. This build volume was not spec'd by the original Voron. I think the original Voron Legacy build volume is like 250 by 250 by, I want to say maybe 300 or something like that. This is much bigger. This is 330 by 350. So it's, as you can see, it's much bigger. And the challenge is there's no there's no manual out of how to go about this. There's a CAD out, and the CAD would definitely help you a lot, but there's no manual that's out to kind of tell you which way or what direction to go. I started with the Z first, and then I started on the Y, then the X. Okay, so the Z first, and then the Y, then the X. The reason for the Z is because, as you can see, it's a bigger bed, and it was challenging to figure out how to mount the bed. And I came up with this solution by adding two 2020 extrusions to the little part that the bed would usually sit on, the little plastic part here. So I just added the 2 aluminum extrusion, and that fixed the problem for me. So my bed can mount within the extrusion here. And what else did I do? I had to it was a close call. As you can see, it's very very close. I maybe have like a less than like a millimeter or two between the spacing here, as you can see. Yeah, so that was, yeah, that's another thing by in itself. But yeah, the belt was also a challenge because I know how Corex Y works. So because I have that in mind, I already kind of knew how to route the belt, but there's no, in the CAD, you don't see the belt, right? So you'd have to just know how Corex Y work in order to mount this belt, because this was a crazy, this is a crazy belt path. Like, I mean, it's insane. So, but like I said, I'll go in more detail in the next video of, how to run this belt. But again, this was a Tronxy X5 SA that I turned into a Voron Legacy with a 330 millimeter by 330 by 350 build volume. So yeah, and it's currently tightened. Everything is all tightened. Everything is moving good. So yeah, everything is kind of tight. So yeah, so it's moving, but everything is buttoned down and everything. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm gonna go ahead and print some Voron style end caps here to cover these exposed extrusion ends, make it look more professional. But so far, afterburner turned out really nicely. Keep in mind, guys, this is not ABS, this is PETG. Because I'm not printing enclosed, like this would not be enclosed at all. Now I could make it enclosed, but if that's the case, I will just go the recommended route by printing ABS, which can hold up to heat a little bit better. But in this case, I'm not printing ABS. I won't be printing ABS, so the PTG works perfectly fine. Now I'm not saying you should do it, I'm just telling you it can work. Other people are gonna say, hey, go ABS, blah 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 blah, whatever. You can use PTG, but I'm not going to tell you to use that. You can use, ABS like is recommended. but I'm using PTG because I made my switch wire out of it, and it still works. I've been printing with it, no melted duct, nothing. Then again, it's not enclosed, so I'm just telling you that it can work. But if you want to go the official route and print it in ABS, and that's fine too. I'm not gonna hamp, on it or anything like that. Keep in mind that the original Vorons was made out of PETG. You know what I'm saying? But because this time they designed them to be enclosed is why they recommend ABS. Because again, if you're printing ABS and you have to enclose the machine to in order to raise the temperature inside the machine to what, 50, 60 degrees, then it's best to use ABS. But really, that's the only reason to use ABS, is because it's heat resistant. Now, if you're not closing your machine, then you can use PTG. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just weird that people will throw a fit about it. But yeah, but anyways, it looks good. The next thing I'm gonna do is try to get the electronics in, try to get the bed in, try to kind of button up everything, and and then make a final build log on this. So, but again, I would try to get the for those who want to attempt to build this, get the correct length of the rods and put that in the description as well, so that way you guys can find them. Now again, if you know how to cut, again, a couple of these I had to cut down to size because they were longer than what this spec called for, so I had to cut them down to size to fit. But like I said, if you have skills, just a little skills to cut these things, you can cut them down to size, measure, cut, and it fit perfectly. So yeah, so I'm happy. It's just to get it all buttoned in and do a little test print and see how it goes. All right, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take it easy. Hey guys, all right, so now I got the belt installed. Made a solution for the bed. Like I said, this is a bigger bed than what is recommended on the Voron Legacy build. So I had to come up with some solution to I know in the previous video I said I had to figure out a way to, I was going to mount it flat on the 2020 extrusion, but I really wanted some way to adjust the bed just in case. So I came up with the solution of printing out some 2020 mount out of PETG, and then came up with this solution to adjust the bed. So I'm really happy with that. Of course, when I messed with this, because I had to move it inwards on all the sides, so I had to basically unscrew this down and move it inwards, it threw my whole bed out of alignment. So that was a major pain in the ass. So anybody's attempting this, just make sure you get this all printed first and set up in one go, instead of just unscrewing and realigning, because that was a hot mess. But make sure that your spacing is even. As long as your spacing is even, everything will come to alignment, and you will know, because when you pull the bed up before you put the lead screws in, when you pull the bed up, if it start to feel a little tight, if it's starting to get tighter at the top, that means it's out of alignment and you need to align it. But once you align it right, it should be smooth all the way up and down. There should be no binding at the top or the bottom. So make sure you get the spacing correct. If not, you're gonna be in a world of just headache. But I figured it out. It was annoying, but I got it working. So I'm pretty excited. It's just to really wire up now, to get the wiring. My belt is pretty tensioned, as you can see there. You're pretty tensioned nicely. I just got to wire up everything now, put the electronics. I went, I love my glass, but in this case I went with the flex sheet, with the magnet underneath, and the flex sheet with PI. I never thought, I know in the last video I said I would never do it, but PETG is just insane, because every time I print PETG on glass or the the material that I had, that black material, as you can see, that a type of bed, it just takes out a chunk out of it. You know, it stick just way too well. So everybody said the PEI will release when it cools down, and so I'm gonna give the PEI a try and see if that solve the problem. Because I like printing PETG, honestly. It turns out really nicely, and my printers are capable of printing it very nice. As you can see, this is all made out of PETG. Everything you see is printed out of PETG. As you can see, it turned out, you know, fairly nicely. You know, ignore the lines that you see, because it's just harsh lighting right now, so you can see all the lines. But yeah, it looks really good. So now all I gotta do is put in the electronics and get it nice and wired up and tucked up, and give it a whirl in the first print. But that's gonna be for next video. So and I'll also include the information of the measurements for all of the stuff, and I'll put that in the description, and we'll just go over a full overall perspective on this build. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell for notification. My goal is at least one video a week. That's my goal until, you know, I can get in a routine to do more. But for right now, one video a week. My topics are very niche. Like, again, 3D printing, computers, you know, software, little firmwares. Like, I do those little niche things. So again, if you guys are interested into that nerdy stuff, this is the channel for you. So remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment. Appreciate you guys. Peace.